It's my pleasure to welcome you here to the Clark Howard Show. You know, our mission is to serve you with advice and information that empowers you so you make better financial decisions in your life. And I'm going to start this week off, this day off, this podcast and YouTube show talking about one of my favorite subjects, food. Food prices have gone up so much, but your ability to save is so great now. And I want to talk about that. And something else has gone way up. Probably the top inflation worry consumers have right now is what's going on with electric bills. And with winter on the horizon, you got to be ready. You don't want that bill setting your wallet on fire. So talk about something we set our wallet on fire with. Do you know that we, the American people, we're number one? We throw out more food that we buy than anybody else does, as best anybody can tell, anywhere on earth. Depending on which study you see, we, the American people, throw out somewhere between a third and 40% of the food that we spent our good hard-earned money to buy. I mean, there's a reason, there's a theory. I won't say this is a reason, there's a theory. In most of the rest of the world, people buy food at a corner, a vendor, corner store, whatever. They buy what they're going to eat that day. We're different. We do these big grocery shopping trips, and we buy a big supply of food, and a lot of it ends up buried in the back of the refrigerator, the freezer, more often the refrigerator, and spoils out and gets thrown out. And so that's a problem that we don't do what the stores do, you know, where they rotate the items on the shelf and they put the items closest to expiration towards the front. And I'm the opposite in the supermarket. I'm always looking at the pull dates or the best by date or use by dates. Always looking at those. And I'm always going after, I feel bad when saying this, but I'm always digging towards the back because that's where I know the items that have the longest remaining shelf life tend to be, and getting those. But you'll be happy to know if I mess up the display, I then restack the items before I move on. But I'm really, really careful about it. And something that's changed in me is when a food item I know we eat a lot of is on sale, I would buy too much of it and think we were going to eat that much of it. And I don't do that anymore. I don't overbuy when something is a bargain, even though I like to buy the bargains. And I've done a lot of our family grocery shopping, obviously, over the years at Aldi. I wanted our dog to be named Aldi, but in our social media vote, you insisted that our dog be named Kirkland Signature. So hopefully when we get our next dog, we'll be able to have a dog named Aldi.
Oh, Lane, did you hear that? There'll be a next dog.
Oh,
I heard.
Do you think I have a choice? We have 2 dogs at a time. And when one passes away, after a period of grieving, we get another dog. And then she gets to have her dogs. I get to name them.
Sounds equal.
Not exactly. But Aldi, okay, I got to tell you the funniest thing about Aldi. You know, they're now the 3rd largest supermarket in the United States. And they're opening stores like crazy because people are so much more price sensitive than they used to be. Well, Aldi's private label thing drives me bonkers. They have so many different private labels. I can't keep up. Why is something called Benton and something else called this and something else called Harvest that, and on and on and on and on. So now they realized their customer base, that they've attracted so many new shoppers, they don't realize those aren't their private labels. They think that's a national brand they're seeing in the store. So now they're saying, I don't know if you've seen it. You don't shop at Aldi regularly, do you?
No.
Oh, and now the things say, they'll say, whatever the private label is, by Aldi. So now they all say by Aldi. And if I were them, I mean, Costco showed, and now Sam's Club has showed so successfully, just come up with one private label name. Kirkland Signature is now one of the largest brands in the world. And Sam's trying to do the same thing with Members Mart. I mean, to go through all these somersaults, putting the by Aldi under some kind of crazy name that somebody invented in the middle of the night. But that's what they want to do. But just know almost everything you're buying at Aldi is their store brand. And that's part of the reason it's so cheap. And the marketplace speaks. They're growing and growing and growing and growing because it's about 40% cheaper, 40% cheaper buying your groceries at Aldi versus buying at a traditional supermarket, and about 20% cheaper than buying at Walmart, buying groceries. So if you're trying to stretch that dollar, one of the things by doing so much of our shopping at Aldi, since the prices are the prices, I don't overbuy anymore. I don't do that problem with perishables where they're on sale, so I buy too many, and then I'm having to throw stuff away. And by the way, Aldi's corporate sibling, Trader Joe's, do you know what they do when their merchandise goes stale on the shelf?
What?
100% given away to food pantries, that kind of thing.
I love that. I love Trader Joe's. I do shop there a lot. And I love their private label food items that are like from Italy, that are made in Italy, or Trader Giotto's, and they have like Trader Jose's, and it's great. I love their stuff.
All right, do you know what I love at Trader Joe's?
What?
You ever had their unhealthy as could be ice cream sandwiches?
No.
So they're chocolate chip cookies on the top and the bottom, vanilla ice cream in the middle, and then like those miniature Hershey's Kisses kind of things. They're not Hershey's Kisses, but that kind of thing around the outside, the perimeter of them. Oh, man.
You know what I love? They're chocolate croissants. I make them every Christmas morning. The night before you take them out and you proof them, you let them rise overnight. I mean, they taste legit. They're unbelievably good.
Really?
You bake them. Oh, they're fantastic.
That sounds like some work. You got to turn the oven on, preheat to 375 or something. Anyway, we have a new story at Clark.com. 22 clever ways for you to save money on groceries, because a lot of people aren't just going to limit themselves to Aldi and maybe Trader Joe's or whatever. You want to shop a wider variety of stores, ways for you to save and stretch every dollar in something that's gone up 27%. The average price of groceries, I think the latest number is 27% since 2019. It's an ugly number.
Well, Brett wrote in with this question. Aloha, Clark. My wife and I will be on Maui for 3 weeks starting in mid-January of 26. We've been at this condo timeshare before and are comfortable with the front office and staff, but we've only stayed for 2 weeks or less in the past. Our first day on the island always starts with a trip to Costco to buy provisions for the stay.
Louis Costco.
The thing is, we end up at local supermarkets over and over to buy small things like dressings, mayo, mustard, seasonings, brownie mix, etc. And the prices for these kinds of items are crazy high. I was thinking maybe we could try and ship a box of these things in advance. Does this make sense to you? And what is the best, he means cheapest, way to ship a 10 to 20 pound box of food items to Hawaii? Mahalo. We'll be thinking of you as we eat our hot dogs at the Maui Costco. Can I give one quick idea on like the mustard and those little things? Get some packets next time you're at restaurants. Like hoard a little bit of packets and put them on your carry-on. That's what I would do.
Okay. Well, here's my suggestion.
Okay. I'm sure yours is
I want to
better.
make it easier. All right. So what a lot of people do who spend lengthy periods of time on Maui is there's a Walmart right by the Costco. It's about 2-minute drive away, I think. So you buy the bigger items at Costco, go to Walmart, buy all the things you're talking about, the dressings, the mayo, the mustard, the seasoning, the brownie mix, whatever else. The Walmart prices are more than they are on the U.S. mainland, but they're much, much, much cheaper than what they are at the supermarkets as you get further out on Maui. You get towards Wailea or Kihei, or you get towards Lahaina, Kapalua. The grocery prices are crazy high. So if before you leave the airport area, after you have your hot dog at Costco and you bought your things there, stop at the Walmart just right around the corner, buy the smaller items, and that's a lot easier than shipping a box of goods.
Love it. Okay. Next question is from Kim in California. What's the difference between all the various credit and dark web protections? I have Microsoft Defender with my software. I pay for Discover protection. I have Malwarebytes. I don't know what I need to have for my information to be protected or what the difference is between all of these. Thank you for any help you can provide.
So, Kim, the dark web is out there. That's just basically almost now like a generic term. All the ways and places that your key personal information is available for sale or is there to be taken. And so signing up for all these protections, I wouldn't spend a penny. I would unsubscribe from all of them you're paying for. And what are people doing with all this information? They're trying to steal from you using your identity, your good credit, your the assets you have. So what I want you to do instead is, if you haven't done so, do something free. I want you to set up a Credit Karma, if you haven't done so, where you can monitor your credit regularly, and then freeze your 3 credit files and call it a day. The whole dark web thing, it's real. It's also in a certain way overhyped, because it's almost like an electronic message board trading in people's information. And let me tell you, there's not probably one of us whose social security number has not been compromised somewhere, whose personal information has not been compromised multiple places. So all you can do is put the best moat up around your life to protect it as you can. And so far today, the best is credit freeze.
Okay, and G in Wisconsin says, it was thanks to you that I started planning for retirement about 20 years ago because I had zero knowledge of where to begin. Your advice helped us blaze a new path to financial freedom. My question is more related to credit card debt. In the last year, I made major repairs to a rental property. I did most of the work, and I used my credit card to buy materials. I now have a balance of $14,000 that I really want to pay down as quickly as possible. My thoughts are, 1, cash in a treasury bill and sell some stocks to pay off the $14K balance on 2 cards that carry a 24.5% interest rate.
Whoa.
Woo. Or 2, pull a personal loan at 6.5% interest and pay off both cards. Option 1 would most likely be considered taxable income at the end of the year, so I'm a little anxious about that, but I will have no payments in the end. With option 2, my cards will be combined into one payment. The interest rate would be about 18% lower. Your input is very valuable to me. I just need to hear your take on how to approach this financial dilemma.
So, G, first of all, congratulations. You have the treasuries. Congratulations that you own a rental property. My regrets that you had to spend this money repairing it. Impressed that you could do so much of the work yourself. I'm not capable. Anyway, you do not sell the treasury bill and some stocks to pay that off. What you do is, it's a good idea to take to essentially refinance it. You can do a personal loan at 6.5, pay that off, pay the personal loan as agreed. Remember, it's an expense against income of the rental property. And so this is a debt that is, if we were to put it in a category, this is investment debt, good debt, not lifestyle debt. So getting the carry cost of it down to basically a quarter of what it is what I'd recommend. And remember, that cost, that expense, was for an investment, and it goes against the income of the investment when you do your prepare your taxes each year. So again, congratulations on being able to do a lot of the work yourself and defray a lot of the expense you would have had to pay somebody else. Coming up ahead, what's going up more than anything else in cost? Your electric bill. We're going to talk about that. So I don't have to tell you, because you've experienced it, your electric bill is really going crazy. And there are multiple factors. There's a lot of misinformation about what is going on. But let's talk about what's at the core. The utility companies had failed to properly invest in updating the grid. And so a lot of the problems we've had with reliability and a lot of the problems we've had with availability of energy is that the grid has been very antiquated. There's a lot of catch-up going on right now. And then we face all the pressure on supplies of energy from all the new AI data centers. And they gobble up enormous amounts of electricity and also water. So this is a real deal. This is a real problem. And in states where the power companies are regulated by politicians, the cost shifts are being pushed very heavily onto your and my backs as consumers. I'm a big believer it would be much better if we had deregulated energy markets. And it's a little esoteric, so I haven't talked a lot about it. I haven't talked about it at all, I don't think, on the podcast. What New Hampshire has done with its new law that allows for free market entry of a lot of new players in the power market in New Hampshire, and even allows homeowners and neighborhoods to band together. I mean, it's a brilliant free market kind of thing to deal with the cost pressures going on with utility bills. But in most places in the country, we're more like sitting ducks right now on this score. A lot of people, I mean, you look at a heat map of the country where solar has been installed. A lot of people who've installed their own solar are really not immune, but protected somewhat from these much higher costs. And now with the new batteries you can add in, even more protected. But the solar market has been a complicated market. And actually, I believe the solar market in the next year or two is going to become a much more viable option for a lot of people, because now there's not all the crazy subsidies and all that. It's going to be a free market activity, and I think it'll become more efficient. But what do you do right now in your own situation? You're a renter, or you don't have solar. What are you going to do? Well, there are certain things to consider, and that is the advice I normally give every spring and every fall. This year, pay attention to it, about doing things to make your house more efficient for the fall, winter heating season next year with air conditioning. You know, there are such simple do-it-yourself kind of things that even I can do them. Weather stripping, caulking, putting in a smart thermostat. When major units need replacing, buy efficient ones. Don't buy the cheap one, buy efficient ones. Do things that reduce the amount of power you need to run your home. That's the really sweet spot. Not trying to come up with how you're going to get that power like solar, do things that reduce how much power you're going to need to use. Because this battle royale between you and me as consumers and these mega power users with all the money flowing, the speculative investing going on into AI, which may be a bit of a bubble, all that money has this gold rush mentality going on, building all these new data centers, and they're competing with you and me for kilowatts. So every kilowatt you and I don't need is money that stays in our pocket. And so that's really where you and I have to focus right now. We control what you and I can actually control.
I love my little space heater.
Yeah, zoned heating. We didn't talk about zone heating this time. I should have. I mean, zone heating done right can significantly reduce. What you do is you make the parts of your house you're not using a lot, you let them get a little cold this winter. Not too cold, but a little cold. And then you warm just where you are. I mean, it's how people have done it in other parts of the world for a long, long time. And I always feel sorry for this time of year.
Who?
The people in New England, where you're from, having to deal with that very inefficient, crazy, costly home heating oil.
Yep.
They got it worse than anybody else.
Yep. All right. Well, speaking of heating and cooling your home, Jared in Indiana has this question. What do you recommend when it comes to replacing an air conditioning unit? Is it cheaper to buy it in the off season of fall or winter? My current unit, a 1999 Duquesne, I think is how you pronounce it.
1999?
Is living on borrowed time.
No kidding.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Which also leads me to ask your recommendation as to whether a new air conditioning unit, heat pump, or something else. What is the choice when looking for efficiency and durability? Lastly, you had someone write in about their financial journey, and they mentioned getting an HVAC loan for 5 years at 0%. How do I find one of those?
Okay, so those are often supplied by the manufacturer through authorized dealers for installation of a new HVAC system in a home. But heat pumps are really awesome. And heat pumps historically cost much more than traditional HVAC systems, but heat pumps have been getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And so since you're somebody who buys something and keeps it for a long, 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 long time, looking potentially at a heat pump, particularly if through the installer you can get the 0% you're talking about, I would definitely consider looking at a heat pump system. Go read some of the stuff. I think, I'm trying to think, energy.gov still has a guide to heat pumps. Heat pumps are crazy efficient and make a big difference in what your bills are throughout the year.
David in Georgia says, I entered into a 4-year lease in August of 2021 as a cosigner through Volkswagen Credit for a VW Taos.
This isn't going to end well, is it?
Not a great beginning, right? I've had a falling out with the person with whom I co-signed, but since the lease ended last month, I thought everything was good. It is not. Apparently, the contract with Volkswagen, in the contract, the lease can be extended by either party without the other party's permission.
So well, if you co-sign, the only party they're listening to is the person who you co-sign for.
So now I'm obligated to another 6 months of the lease, even though the lease ended in this summer. VW says that they treat the two parties of the lease as one. So if one party decides to extend, the other is obligated to pay. So the contract requires two people to enter into it, but after that, you are no longer two people. This is frustrating and infuriating. Can you help?
All right, so David, let's talk the good stuff. Obviously, the person you had the falling out with made payments all through these years.
Yes.
Because co-signing is, it's the worst because you have full obligation. Your credit can be ruined if the person's late making payments or whatever, doesn't make them. You can end up with a repo on your record. I mean, everything that can possibly go wrong, you've avoided by far the worst things that I could draw out. But you have no rights. As a cosigner, you have all the responsibility. So here's hoping at the end of the 6-month extension that the vehicle's turned back in like it's supposed to be, and you will escape from the co-signing with no meaningful financial harm. Because anytime any question Krista asks me ever starts with cosign,
Right.
it's never good, and yours so far has not been bad.
It's always you're trying to do a nice thing for someone else. It's such a bummer.
Yeah, co-signing can never be done lightly because you have nothing but negative potential outcomes from being a co-signer.
You might as well almost buy the car yourself
If you
and
can
have them
afford
make
to.
you payments.
If you can
yeah,
afford
only
to
if you
do
can
that,
afford it. Yeah.
You're much better not to be in the crazy inferior position of being a co-signer. So we're just hoping it worked over these first 4 years,
Yeah, 4 years.
that these next 180 days, you slide right through and you're free of it.
For sure. Okay, John in Georgia says, on my Citi Double Cash Card statement, there's a new item related to fees charge that appeared
Yeah.
below the standard purchase section. The item is dated the middle of the month. Membership fee, September. This came on 9/15. Membership fee September 25th through August 26th. The amount of the charge is $0. Do you think Citi will start charging an annual fee for using the credit card after August of 2026?
Okay, so I have a Citi Double Cash. I saw the same thing you did, and I was like, is this a new formatting they're using for their statements? Is this a new requirement that you have to be, it has to be disclosed to you that there's no annual fee on a card? Or are they prepping us
Just subtly.
for a possible future annual fee on Double Cash? I went hunting. I didn't tell you about this. I went
No.
hunting, and I couldn't find anything indicating that there was any new, like testing the waters or trial balloon by Citi to start charging an annual fee on Double Cash. I would be really surprised if they went that way because so many cashback cards out there, almost zero of them. There's one from one credit union that charges an annual fee I'm aware of. But as a general rule, people that are into cashback are getting a card that has no annual fee because they're cheap and they want the best they can get back, which is cash. I love that. So it would be a shift in the marketplace big time if they did start charging an annual fee. But of course, if it happens, since I've recommended the Double Cash Card in the past, you will know right here if one is coming.
All right.
But yeah, I saw it. I was like, what's going on here? And so far, it seems nothing's going on here. So thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. And want to tell you that it's a privilege and it's an honor you give me by sharing your time with us here on the podcast and the YouTube show. And I love doing this. I love it. And I hope that you love what we provide here. And know that it's all about your empowerment. And this is something I've been at a long time. And I've done it because I know so often people feel powerless in their own lives. I don't like that. I want you to have more and more control over time. And the area I can help with is with your wallet. And in a capitalist system, the more control you have of your wallet, the more control you have of what's going on in your life. So that's what it's about. And that's why you hear me say empowerment through knowledge. And ultimately, my mantra over the years is that you learn ways to save more and spend less. And never, 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 not ever get ripped off. And see you on Wednesday.